Now that I have my tea, let's start this video. Hi, my name is Madison. If I sound a little bit off, I have a cold, so don't mind that, but I thought I would sit down and do a little video of my plants and show how I have my plants set up around my house and what plants I have, maybe what plants are on my wish list, but yeah, just chatting about all things plants. So I'm using my Notion right now because I have a whole section about which plants I have on my list in my house, and then also the plants that I have on my wish list. So I'm just kind of gonna go through them. So first, starting with what I actually have. So I'm gonna start with what I have most of, which is pothos. So pothos are a really easy plant to take care of. It's kind of like a beginner's plant, some people say. It needs like not that much light and not that much care, so they're really easy, and that's why I love them. I have a lot of them. So my first one is a golden pothos. It's the biggest one that I have right now currently. It's also been with me the longest. I got it at IKEA, I believe it or not, back in like university days, and it's been with me ever since. Love her, she's amazing. She's gotten really big and very long. Like, she's currently trailing right now. Where I have her, also I might refer to my plants as her or she. So yeah, that's my golden pothos, love her. The next one, it's my dryer. Okay, so the next plant that I have, also in a pothos, is my neon pothos. So again, just another basic pothos, just in a different color variation. So the neon pothos is very bright, kind of neon green. I did have to trim her back a little bit. Where I have her now on top of my floating shelves in my kitchen, she got very long with the trailing her vines. So I did trim her back a little bit. I took some cuttings, I propagated them. So I do have more of this plant, just in little jars, kind of propagating right now. The next pothos that I have is my Marble Queen pothos, a little bit of a newer pothos that I picked up. Really pretty, again, just another pothos. She's a little bit small at the moment, but she will kind of trail off and get a little bit bigger. I did also cut her back a bit when I first got her. She kind of had like a long trail. And yeah, has some dark green bits with some lighter whites. If you look back to my golden pothos, it has more green and yellow, whereas the Queen Marble pothos has more whites and green. So they look very similar, but there's that key difference where one is more golden, yellow, and green, whereas the Queen Marble is more white and green. So she'll look really pretty when it's a little bit more mature and has a lot more of white leaves. My last pothos that I have actually is right here. So this is my blue pothos, or Cebu, blue pothos. This was on my wish list for a while, and I finally got her at a nursery, I think in, I want to say Orangeville. I don't know exactly where. Actually, no, was it Tara? I think it was in Vaughan. Scratch that. It was in Vaughan, yeah. But yeah, this was one of my wish list plants, and I love her a lot. So it's very dark blue, kind of silverish leaves. Again, she was another plant that grew very, very long. Her kind of vines were just spread all over the place, because in my office where I am currently now filming, it gets really, really bright in the afternoon and almost like golden hour, because the sun sets like right in front of this window. So my plants are just loving it in here. They're growing big, they're stretching out and trailing out. So yeah, that is my blue pothos. But I do have a big bucket downstairs of cuttings that have currently rooted, so I might put those into a new pot and have a whole new plant. But yeah, there's a bunch of cuttings of my blue pothos all around my house. The next plant is my Alocasia Wentii. Don't know if I'm saying that right. If anyone correct me in the comments, please, if I am saying it wrong. But this is this plant actually right behind me here. This is another plant that I got from a nursery, very young, kind of immature, and it has done really well in here. When I first brought it home, I don't think it liked this space very much, because it did drop a lot of leaves and wasn't really putting out any new growth. But as of recently, it's really loving this space, of course, in my office with the bright light and everything. I do have it on like a little kind of styrofoam mat, because I do rotate her a lot, depending, because where the sun is, the leaves will kind of lean to one side. So I do keep her on like this little mat, and I turn her whenever she needs it, or whenever I feel like it needs to face the sun a little bit more. But yeah, really beautiful. It's got like really dark green on the tops of the leaves, and then on the other side they're like a maroon kind of purple color. Really pretty to look at. The next plant that I have are my 2 monsteras. So the smaller of the two is actually from Planting Curio many years ago. This is also during university times. And I got it at Planting Curio as a like little baby. When I was moving to BC and kind of moving apartments and kind of getting rid of a lot of things, I did break down and cut this plant up a lot. I gave some cuttings away to my friends. I gave actually a small cutting to my mom, whose plant actually is really big now. I'll see if I can get her to send me a photo or like a video of her plant. But she has a cutting that has done really well. It's trailed, it's grown new leaves and done really well. So I took the top of that cutting, I brought it back here, and I planted it in soil, and this is what I got. It's really maturing. It's put out a lot of really good leaves, really big leaves, so that's how I know it's kind of getting a little bit older. And it actually had its first leaf with the fenestrations on it, so the holes. So I'm super excited. I was really happy to see that. These, like I said, these plants are like my kids, so whenever something happens, I'm like, yes, I get really excited. It's all over my Instagram. I'll like post new leaf pictures like a typical plant mom. But that is the smaller of the two. My second monstera I got surprisingly at Canadian Tire, and it was for, I wouldn't say that cheap. I think I got it for like 50 bucks, but it's huge. Like, she's definitely a mature plant. Many mature leaves there, as you can tell, with a lot of the kind of fenestrations and a lot of the breaks in the leaves. It is a little bit variegated. This is just what I tell myself, because it does have some little spots on it that are different colors, and I don't know if that is maybe damage to the plant before I got it, because there was a leaf that had a lot of the different kind of like, not white, but it was different colors of green, and it did kind of break apart off of that leaf. But there is the one leaf that has the variegation on it. And that just keeps me going to say that I have a variegated monstera, but not really. But yeah, I love her to death. This is my monstera, hand for size, kind of, if you can see just how big this plant is. It does live in my living room. It's where we have the big windows, so it definitely loves that spot there up against the wall. The smaller of my monstera also does live in the front of my kitchen, so it's kind of like in a hallway opening to the kitchen. It seems to like that spot as well, so I'm also just gonna keep it there for now. Might move it to my office depending on what I plan to do with my office later on, but as of right now the plants are staying where they are. Who else is on my list? Oh, I do have a little lemon philodendron. She sits up on my open shelves with a cutting of my blue pothos, so one that I had propagated and made its own little kind of set up its own little pot there. So the lemon philodendron I got as a cutting as a gift, and I originally had it in soil. Then I just didn't like how it was growing. It wasn't necessarily getting bigger, it was just kind of trailing and the leaves were getting smaller and smaller, so that was kind of an indication that it wasn't doing quite well. So I did cut it, I propagated it in water, and I do plan on putting it back in soil fairly soon. I just want it to kind of develop a more complex root system, or like an established root system, and then I'll replant it. But yeah, she's cute. She lives on my open shelves. She's nice to see in the morning. Add some different variations of colors, especially against the blue pothos. So I think it's really pretty having them together. Moving on to my next plant. So I have a Sansevieria moonshine, and this is a Sansevieria is just a snake plant, or a mother's tongue, or devil's tongue, some people call them. Sansevieria, snake plant. So my snake plant is a moonshine version. It has kind of gone back, I feel, to its original state, so kind of like the darker tones. I think it's because I have it in front of our back door, which gets a lot of light and it's not kind of covered. But I love this snake plant. Again, like all my other plants, I love it. But I just love how kind of bright and almost silvery it is, because you don't see a lot of pothos or not pothos, you don't see a lot of snake plants like that. A lot, like you do kind of see like the classic dark green and light green ones with like the yellow tips, or you just see the ones that kind of have like that zebra patterning on them. But yeah, this is my moonshine. I love her. I've cut her into 3 separate plants. So the mother plant, I took like 3 cuttings, and now they're their own kind of established plants. And then the 2 that I have that are the oldest cuttings actually are growing like pups or growing like other plants off of them. So that is exciting. I'm gonna plant those with the mother plant fairly soon though. I got a pot from Chapters. Fun fact, you can get a lot of good plant stuff at Chapters, surprisingly, in Canada or in the United States. I think there's a Chapters in the United States. Maybe someone correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, you can find a lot of great stuff there. I got this black pot that I'm gonna replant all of them in. And I'm debating on moving that one. I think I'm gonna move it to our bedroom, because like I said, it's getting a lot of light and it's getting a little bit darker. The newer growth is that light moonshine color, but I think I'm gonna pull it away from that open kind of window / door and put it to where it gets like more indirect light rather than direct light, because I think that's why it's changing colors on me. But that is my plan for that plant, repotting and putting it in a room. Okay, this plant I can never say right, so I'm gonna try. So it's the Rhaphidospora tetrasperma. This plant is amazing. It's growing so fast. So this plant lives in my main bathroom window. So where we're at every morning, every night, I get to look at it and be happy. It grows so fast, I'll tell you. I did cut this one back as well because it was just getting a little bit wild. So I did cut it back. I propagated some of the cuttings. But even though I cut it, it just put out more new leaves and it's still growing around my windowsill. My goal for this one, I think, is to have it grow and trail all along my window. I think that would be really pretty to go like up the sides and across the top. So wish me luck on trying to do that, but that's the goal for that plant. But I love it. It looks like a mini monstera almost, kind of. Like it has the same fenestrations with the cuts in the leaves, and it's also just a really nice plant to look at. My last plant that I have and the newest plant that I have is my Ficus alii. If I'm saying that correctly, I have no clue. So this is in the ficus family. It is a cousin to the classic fiddly fig. I know how finicky and how kind of hard they are to take care of, and how they really don't like if you put them in the wrong like area or surrounding. So I got the next best thing, which a lot of people said it's a lot easier to take care of, which is the Ficus alii. I got this one as well at a Canadian Tire, and I think it was for fairly cheap as well, kind of like $45. And it's big, like it's a big tree. It's very established and I would say mature. Like the classic ficus, when I did bring it home, I put it in this corner and in this pot, and it dropped a whole bunch of leaves. I don't think it was that healthy to begin with when I bought it, but I did love the leaves and how it looked, so I bought it anyways, hoping to just fix it up and take care of it. But I can say proudly that it has stopped dropping leaves. I kind of do give it a shake once every morning, and it stopped dropping its leaves, so I think it's kind of happy. It's growing in this corner. It has put out some little new leaves at the top of their branches, so I think it's happy, and I just love looking at it. But yeah, that is it. So that is my plant tour, kind of plant talk about what I have. My camera is dying, but I'm just gonna sign off here, say thanks for watching, and I hope you have a great day. If you love plants, leave your favorite plants in the comments, and I'll definitely see if I can add them to my wish list and see if I want them. But yeah, I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you later. Bye.